Welcome back to a new training video. So these were my sessions from the weekend and they both went pretty well. I wasn't feeling too great on this Saturday session, and that's just because of how heavy I went the previous day, and the set of 10 squats, that will take some energy out of you, believe it or not. And I apologize if you're hearing the creaking of my chair. It creaks, I don't really know why. But on this session, decided to do some pause snatching, and I was able to get up to 90, and that was kind of like the number I had in my head. And I was like, I'm gonna do 80 for sure, and then if 80 feels good, then we'll go up to 90. There was 80, and then we bumped up to 90. I've been really liking the pause snatching. It's been really emphasizing that bar path to my knee, and on other days, if I'm doing like the full lifts, really trying to emphasize aggressively turning over has been good as well. So they've kind of like correlated, or at least they kind of work together, where I'm trying to not necessarily pull the bar super aggressively off the ground, but just trying to keep it super close all the way until I can get it as late as I can into my hips, and then really trying to, when I extend, ripping myself under for the snatch. And similar thing is helpful with the clean, but after doing that pause snatch up to 90, I did some pulls here, same kind of thing as the snatch complex of just doing the pause pulls and just emphasizing the same thing, trying to make sure it pauses in a good position, and then I'm kind of getting my knees out of the way. And I'm trying to get better at that thinking of not just trying to bring my knees back, but also allow them to go out a little bit too. So it's kind of like two different movements that I'm doing with them. And that's kind of what they did anyway, is just trying to be consistent with that. And I have found that makes a more consistent bar path. My hips aren't doing anything weird. And it's probably a more natural pathway for my legs to move. Decided to do some snatch bounces. As you see, the little 3 kilo plate on the side was trying to chip what I did earlier in the week, and was hoping to be able to do 143. I knew probably wasn't going to happen, but as you saw there, I missed 113, and then just jumped up to 120 because 113 didn't feel bad. It just was a little bit out in front. Then there's 135, I think it was 135. Ended up just throwing it behind and didn't really have the kind of the aggressiveness that you need for that lift, or really all lifts. And it's better just to throw it away than to try to save a lift like that. That's really kind of the case with any lift. If it's in a weird position, just get out of it and don't do it, because you'll just break yourself in that moment. But besides the pulls, the second goal of this session was to get some pressing volume in. And so I did it. I was originally going to try to push up to 60, but decided just to do it 55, since earlier in the week I did these 3 sets of 10 at 50, and really probably could have done 60, but by the time I get to the last couple reps, it definitely started to feel difficult. But I don't necessarily mind keeping it light here, because I'm still doing the reps and just moving them a little bit faster. Plus I'm doing other shoulder accessory work as well. In this session, I just did banded triceps as far as the accessories. When I'm at the house, obviously I don't have the machines and dumbbells and stuff to do a lot of different accessories. But what I've been kind of noticing with the triceps is I've been more consistent at doing different movements, so not just doing the same movement every time that I'm doing tricep accessories. And I think that's part of the reasons why I'm getting like more of a hypertrophy, more hypertrophy, or more of like a pump in that muscle, is that I have some variance to the movements that I'm choosing to do with it. And kind of realized that for like the dumbbell cleans and the machine bicep curls that I've been doing, obviously not bad. You're gonna make progress or get stronger, get hypertrophy from doing the same movements repeatedly. But it's also good to have some variance. And so after the next session that I did machine curls. So I guess cable curls is more correct term, because I guess it's still technically machine, but a different angle and a different implement. And didn't get as much of like I don't know, I don't really get like a crazy hypertrophy pump as I do. Like I feel like my triceps get pumped really well and my biceps don't. And I don't really know why that is. Perhaps it's just because I don't like doing them, and I don't like do the light weights for really high reps to get that pump in. I don't know. I don't really care because I don't like biceps, but also did some like one arm rear delt stuff with the cable as well, instead of doing those dumbbell cleans I had talked about in other videos, and some face pulls, and really just trying to emphasize having my elbows super high in those. So I was feeling them better in my shoulders when I was doing that. So just another tool in the tool bag to kind of cycle around different movements to have at those on those accessory days, and still trying to be consistent with having a day where I do triceps and a day where I do shoulders and biceps, and just kind of alternating on those days. And then maybe having like one day a week where I don't do any of those accessories, depending on how I'm feeling. But on this session, it was decently late at night. I ended up going at like 7. It wasn't really too cold outside, but I was like, I'm just going to go to the gym. I have nothing better to do. So I'm just going to go there because I'm probably going to train better. There might not be anyone there. I think there's one gentleman that you see in the back there. He was there while I was doing snatching. And then I was by myself for the rest of the time, which, is nice to not have to worry about, the hustle and bustle when there's a lot of people in there at different times. I don't know if that's unique to myself, if I'm just antisocial, but I do like training alone. I do enjoy that. Not every session all the time, but it is nice to kind of know, like, all right, it's just me and the barbell today. It's a date. I'm on a date with the bar and nobody else. But I did 3 sets of 3 at 90, and they were feeling really good. So the big emphasis here was trying to be really aggressive as I was pulling underneath, which is probably made easier by the straps a little bit. But I was also trying to be really, not necessarily loose with my hands, but trying to make sure my arms were as long as possible. So trying to have loose hands and trying to mimic how my hands would be on the bar when I'm doing holding the bar with the hook grip. And so trying to not necessarily relax my hands entirely, but what I notice is sometimes my wrist is kind of flexed before I start to lift, and your wrist will have to, or my wrist is extended, I should say, and it will have to get back into that neutral position when I start to pull. So I was just trying to start in that neutral position to kind of eliminate that extra little bit of movement, because that could potentially probably create some errors with the pull and lead to potentially more arm bend or just other issues in the lift. But as you saw, 3 sets of 90 went well. I just did a double at 100 because the first rep didn't feel fantastic. The second rep felt good. So I was originally going to just do a double with 110, and the plan was just to do a double, but the first 2 felt good enough to where I wanted to try the third, and I was able to do the triple, which I was really happy with. And then here, doing some doubles in the clean, which you'll see went really kind of bizarre. So I did this, I went from 70 to 110, all fine and dandy. I have my red wrist wraps on. I got those from a hook grip order. And I just decided to use them. They're not Velcro like the black ones I have, and honestly I like the Velcro ones a little bit more. I feel like I can get those in a more consistent position, and I feel like these, because they have that string, they get a little bit looser. But here is a 140 double, which is a relatively routine weight for me to do. It didn't feel great, but the goal is still to do 155 for a double, and this is the first attempt. I missed it, which is really bizarre. I wasn't really expecting to miss it, and then made it here. Not a super easy rep, crashed down on me. And then on the second rep, I missed it. Tried to take as much time in between as I feasibly could to allow myself to recover. But I don't know, double this weight, I feel like I've done it before at some point. It's just really difficult to do, and I feel like I lose so much speed on that second rep that getting under and like doing a proper lift is just so difficult on that second rep. And it's just something that obviously will get better. I'm not in peak strength shape to be cleaning maximal weights with all the pulls I've done, or all the squats and I guess pulls and stuff too. And then this is a really bizarre clean. So you see here, halfway up, and it was starting to drift forward, so then I had to go all the way back down and bounce back up. And I didn't actually attempt to get onto this next one. I kind of knew going in, like with how hard that first rep was, I was like, unless like I'm just going bonkers as I'm doing it, it's not gonna happen. I ended up just clarking it, which is always a smart choice to do on a clean. If you're ever hesitant about a rep, just clark it, because you won't get hurt on a clark. If you are hesitant and try to go under it, that's the only time I've ever hurt myself on a clean, is when I've been hesitant and I still try to do it. If you're hesitant, if you have any sort of apprehension, just don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. But you see here, I'm trying to hype myself up. Was not successful. Did a really nice pull though. And I look at the speed, like the speed looks like definitely get under it, but for me, it's not the speed of the pull that dictates the lift. It's the speed of how I feel I can get underneath it. And this is a similar session to last week where, I was doing reps on the snatch, reps on the clean, reps on the jerk, and stopping there. decided to push them heavier. I was just feeling good on all these lifts, and even though cleans, I wasn't able to make that 155 double. Like, just the fact that I felt good enough to do the 140 double and move up from there is good. So not necessarily as much volume as I did in the previous week, but honestly I'm fine with that because I'm going to get the strength work volume in from the main lifts. But I went from 110 right to this 140 and just tried to be really aggressive with 140. And this 155 here, I just didn't do it well enough, and it was just out in front. And the second 155 was definitely out in front as well, but I was able to stabilize it and get it above my head. Definitely want, like, how the 140 look is how I want the 155 to look, and that will really tell me that I'm ready to start taking cracks at heavier and heavier weights. But on days like this, like if I get to like that 110 for reps and do the 155 for a double in the clean, if I'm actually able to do that and then jerk 155, like especially with the intensity of the squats or like the volume that I'm doing with them, I'll be happy with that level of performance on those days. So always trying to get better at the classics, but not being too hard on myself if I'm not able to go up to 99% or 100% or whatever when I'm not in I'm fatigued from other lifts or I'm not in that peak strength. But training today should be interesting. So the day after that session that you just saw, I'm going to be doing 3 sets of 10 squats, one more week of doing those, and then I'll drop down to some lighter reps, or not lighter, but less reps. Be curious what I feel like trying to do today. Certainly want to do more than 165, maybe 175. We'll see. Maybe we'll see it on Instagram. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all in the next video and hope you all have a great day. Peace.